ओके गाइज, तो आज हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं कि कैसे अपन एपीआई को पोस्टमैन के थ्रू हिट करते हैं। ठीक है, तो जो बैकएंड पे एपीआई हम बनाते हैं वो हम पोस्टमैन के थ्रू हिट करते हैं। तो अभी जस्ट वी आर स्टार्टिंग द सर्वर, सो you can see the port number 9090. I have started the server and we'll see this API, how this API we are hitting /greet. So /API/greet is the path. So you can say this /API/greet, it is having the permit all, so no authentication required for this API. So I will try to hit this API through postman. Let's see. So for this API guys, we don't require any body because we are not taking any request parameter, and yeah, so can you see this is the response, and this response guys we are fetching from the properties file. You can see. So how I'm reading, see. So if you look at this app.title, this is the key, and we are, while invoking this API, we are returning the response. Is a title, you can say. So this title we are reading from the application.properties file, but we need to see which properties file is active now, which profile is active. So this is the application-dev.property file for dev environment. It is reading the app.title from the dev property file. Because if you look at this application.properties file, so there is a you can see what is the profile is active here. Dev profile is active. Yeah, so dev property file will be utilized by Spring framework. So we are reading this key from the application the dev.properties file. Yeah, of course, default property file is application.properties file, but active profile is my dev, so it's always read this application-dev.property file. So whatever information is here in the application dev.properties file, that information will be used. And status code is also 200, you can see. Okay, now we will look for another API /API/admin /API/admin, and what is the request parameter? It is having the request body. Okay, you can see /API/admin. It has this API who can access admin, which has the admin role. Okay, and so when you check for admin role, what are the username password? This is the username password for admin. Yeah, you can see admin username, and this is the admin 123 is password. Yeah. Because only admin can access this API. Yeah, see, look at this. Yes, so this API can be accessed by only admin role. Yeah, so for admin role we already checked the username password for admin. Yeah, so let's try to hit the same API, and of course if you look at this inside the API we need the request parameter. You know what, this is the request body, you can say at the request body annotation. So here user record, yes. So what user record is containing, see, it has the user record is the combination of ID, name and role. Okay, so these three parameters we have to pass, remember, while invoking this API slash admin API. Yeah, and it is returning the response as a user record. Yeah, it is post mapping. So of course we need to prepare post request. Okay, this is we have to remember, guys. So while invoking this API, guys, we have to think, we have to prepare post API, post request, and this post request will be having the user record as a request parameter, and it is returning the response as a user record. Yeah, so let's invoke. Yes, you can see. So we are trying to hit this slash API slash admin API. Yeah, with post request. And of course header authorization, of course it needs, because you know that this API can hit only by the admin role. So admin username and admin password we require here. So we need to pass here authorization along with this request. Yeah, so you can see we are passing, while hitting this API, we are passing username as a admin and password as a admin123, which we have already configured in security config class. Yeah, you can see this. Yeah, now body. So as I told you, because this API need the request parameter as a user record, and user record is the combination of three fields we already seen, that ID, name and role. Okay, which we are passing in the form of JSON, and we are hitting C, and we are getting the user record as a response as a JSON form here. So header, if you see, like, you know, header, in the header part we have to configure as a response as a JSON, and 200, oh, see, status is 200. Okay, successful. So very easy, guys, it's very easy concept. In this way, guys, we can we can prepare our request. Previous one, it was the get request, this was the post request. Yeah, if you see, if you put the wrong username password, you will get unauthorized. We can test also. So through the postman, guys, basically we test our API. Remember, this is, we have to, it is very good platform. So developer can test through the postman here. see if you hitting this API with the wrong credential, you can see it's giving the error. So we already configure the our local exception and global exception in our application. Yeah. So now the see by putting the valid username and password, we were getting the 200 successful status. Now for another API, guys, delete API/delete and ID we have to pass for deleting. Just assume that we want to delete the record with the help of ID. Okay, so this time we have to prepare delete request, and we will see what are the role has been configured. If there is any role for delete, yes, there is a role for admin, you can see. So admin role has been configured for this API. So only admin can delete this record, remember, because if you use other role, you will get the forbidden error. Okay, because this API has been configured only for admin role. So we'll see here. This time we have to use the delete HTTP request. Also inside the delete C, we are also validating the ID also. If ID less than equal to 0, yeah, if ID equal to less than equal to 0 or ID greater than equal to 100, we are providing the invalid input exception. If ID is valid, then we are generating the response. Yes. So ID, guys, we are validating here. So in this way, guys, just I wanted to tell you that, yeah, like when we are passing any request parameter, we can also verify those request parameter. We can also validate. If validation fail, then we can throw the exception. Okay, we can throw the customized exception or your predefined exception. Remember this. So this time we are throwing the invalid input exception, and after if, if input is valid, then generating the response. So we see. So I am putting the some delete. I'm preparing the delete request. We'll see for port number is 9090. Yeah, so guys, yeah, so we have to pass the authorization. Yeah, ID we have to pass in the form of URL, you can say, and that ID will be mapped here, and we'll check, and if this condition is true, through the invalid input exception, otherwise it's generate the response. So see, authorization, of course this API only for admin role, so we have to pass the admin username and password. If you see, generating the response, product, delete it. Okay, and status, HTTP status code is 200. Okay, it means successful, we got the successful response. Okay, so ID we are passing in the URL. Yes. So basically guys, it's, yeah, so in this way guys, we can hit any API. Let's check for, negative scenario here. For happy scenario, we have seen. Now we are checking for negative scenario. Okay, so if you see, we are passing in this request 0 as the ID. It's saying, see, exception is throwing, product ID must be greater than 0. Yeah, so we are throwing the exception. Yeah, and this exception we are handling here. So invalid input exception, yes, we are handling globally here. Yeah, you can see. Not, I think locally this is, and we are mapping globally this exception in the form of key value. So separate class we created for global exception. Value. See, yeah, this is the handler for invalid input exception. Okay, yeah. So here in the exception you can see, we are putting the key like exception message like as a key and value. Okay, so we are configuring this exception. So here we were handling